Are your AI coding agents actually saving you time, or are they just creating entirely new bottlenecks for your team? Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. We're going to unpack a super strategic playbook for engineering managers and DevOps teams who are looking to evolve their AI coding agents into fully self-improving systems. We are moving way past basic chatbots today. We're talking about what it actually takes to give agents their own computers, set them loose in the cloud, and fundamentally rewrite how your engineering team operates. So if you're trying to scale autonomous agents, you are absolutely going to want to pay close attention to this.
For years, we've been totally obsessed with model intelligence, right? We've just been sitting around waiting for the next big breakthrough in reasoning. But there's been a massive paradigm shift. The models are already incredibly capable. They're fast, they're smart, and they are genuinely ready to work. So what's the real friction? Well, it's us. The bottleneck is how humans provide these models with the tools, context, and environments they actually need to succeed. We just haven't built the infrastructure to let them flex their true potential. We're essentially handing them a Formula One race car engine, but forcing them to drive it on a dirt road.
So, to demystify all this, here is our game plan. We'll start with a new engineering bottleneck, then move to foundational autonomy, talk about cloud security and scaling, and finish up with managing the agent experience.
Part 1. The new engineering bottleneck and why we need to rethink developer experience.
Think about what happens when a human developer joins your team. They get a dedicated laptop. You help them meticulously set up their local dev environment. You hand them a mountain of documentation. But legacy AI onboarding? Man, we were historically just throwing them blindly into a massive code base. From the agent's perspective, it was just thousands of lines of code whizzing past. They were expected to perform, sight reading without even being able to test the application. Imagine how incredibly frustrated a human developer would be working that way. They'd have to constantly bug other team members just to test a single line of code. It's literally absurd.
So how do we actually fix this? The answer is a dedicated cloud onboarding process. Instead of demanding code changes on day one, a new cloud agent's very first job is purely to explore the code base. Just figure out how to run it. It pokes around, maps out the necessary environment variables, grabs the required permissions, and, this is crucial, it interactively tests things with the human developer to ensure all the services are actually deploying correctly. It's a foundational step. By taking the time to let the agent fully map out its environment first, you are rewarded with incredibly rapid, seamless task deployment later on.
Moving on to Part 2, Foundational Autonomy, and how to set agents free, safely.
Once your agent is properly onboarded, you have to establish rules of engagement. This brings us to the 3 foundational principles of autonomy. First, agents need eyes. If they change the state of an app, they need to actually see that app to verify the change, just like you would. They also need to see the debugging chats of other agents on the network. Next, they need tools. This means giving them access to internal apps and services, but obviously within reasonable security constraints. And finally, they need the ultimate primitive, computer use.
Computer use is absolutely vital. We're talking raw pixels coming in and mouse and keyboard commands going out. There's a brilliant analogy for this. Traditional coding is a lot like chess. All the pieces, all the rules, they're completely visible on the board right in front of you. But navigating graphical user interfaces, that's way more like playing a video game. You only see a tiny slice of the world at any given time. There are hidden one-way doors, there are sudden game over states. Getting an agent to navigate that kind of complex, hidden environment requires advanced backtracking and high-level metacognition. It is a massive leap in general intelligence.
Now, by mastering those primitives, organizations progress through 3 distinct stages of agent evolution. Stage 1 is simply providing those basic tools and context so the agent can operate autonomously. Stage 2 is where you start updating your scaling patterns and figuring out exactly where the agents tend to fall over. And that ultimately leads you to Stage 3, building the system that builds the system. Instead of constantly hand-holding your agents from task A to task D, you create a self-sustaining loop that solves for A all the way through Z.
Part 3, Cloud Security and Scaling, and the True Power of Isolation.
I want you to consider the phrase, security through freedom. Now that sounds a bit crazy, right? Almost counterintuitive to traditional InfoSec thinking. But setting agents free in the cloud actually unlocks unprecedented security for your core operations.
Here is how that plays out practically. Cloud environments give you incredibly robust security through strict environment isolation. If an agent goes completely rogue or totally wrecks an environment variable, your local machine is 100% safe. On top of that, it frees human developers from dangerous context switching. Think about how exhausting it is to constantly bounce between testing an agent's broken code and trying to write your own. Plus, it entirely eliminates the tedious resource management of local setups. You get to scale up massive agent workforces without any of the local risk.
And finally, part 4, managing agent experience to build that self-improving system.
We are shifting the mindset now from standard developer experience, or DevX, to agent experience. Human developers rely heavily on persistent states. We leave things running locally overnight, and our brains can parse highly complex documentation. But cloud agents, because of that strict cloud isolation we just talked about, they boot up their developer environments from scratch every single time they run. They used to spend forever just waiting for services to wake up. So optimizing their experience means building specialized CLI tools. Think of them like Swiss Army knives for checking service statuses or instantly creating test accounts. You also need to provide simplified, agent-readable documentation for edge cases. You really have to treat the agent like a first-class employee.
Okay, to achieve a truly self-improving system, agents are given this highly specialized core instruction called the WTF skill. It literally stands for work on the factory. It explicitly, and I think pretty cleverly, instructs the agent to pause and report anything that is annoying, broken, or confusing. Instead of just silently grinding its gears through the friction, it stops and flags the problem.
And that simple instruction creates a vital, continuous feedback loop. An agent hits an environment bug and reports it to a central system. Human managers then review, deduplicate, and categorize that issue. From there, an agent actually goes back into the codebase and proposes a fix. But because dev environment bugs are notoriously flaky, the agent spawns even more cloud agents to test that fix across a massive evaluation set to ensure it's not a fluke. Only after all of that robust testing does a human review the final pull request.
So where does that leave you and your engineering team? Well, in this advanced stage, the human developer's role transforms entirely. You are no longer down in the weeds writing the code to fix a broken deployment pipeline. Nope. Instead, your primary role is carefully validating these agent pull requests to ensure high-trust system updates. You are essentially overseeing a factory that is meticulously optimizing its own machinery. It's a profound shift in leverage. And as trust builds over time, human involvement drops even further, creating an incredible compounding effect.
So, as you scale your autonomous teams and plan your technical roadmap, I want you to ask yourself this final question. Are you just building tools to help your developers type slightly faster? Or are you building the system that builds the system? Consider how prioritizing the agent experience, giving them the right onboarding, the right computer use primitives, and the power to report their own bugs might just be the absolute key to unlocking your company's true engineering velocity. The choice of which to build is ultimately going to define your team's future.